This Shadow Charizard team is insanely strong. It has Medicham, Lantern, and of course the Shadow Charizard, which is going to be the main featured Pokemon. Now, the safe swap that you'll be using will be a Medicham, and you can also, if you don't have the Medicham, especially an XL Medicham, you can actually use a Machoke, a Machamp. I would actually recommend a Shadow Machamp, so if you have that one, do the Shadow Machamp, but if you don't, go ahead and use the Machamp, regular Machamp, and maybe even honestly trying one of the Pokemon that might actually work too is using the Defense Deoxys. That might not actually be a bad matchup because the one issue with the Machamp, if you save swap it and you get met with a Medicham, then it's not really the best one, but just to go ahead and point that out for you guys. So they're gonna go ahead and they swap out to their Clodsire, and I'm thinking, okay, we can go ahead and possibly win switch back and align our Charizard to the Superior, which is what I'm gonna go ahead and try to do. And if you guys haven't already, make sure to leave a like and hit that subscribe button. It's been a while since I made a video, and just to point out, that shield right there was so crucial for us, and you guys are gonna see what happens later in the match. But I can't believe I shielded a Stonehenge. I'm counting is your friend, guys. And I've been actually doing my best to count. I've actually been doing a really great job. One thing that I've actually been doing is checking out PV Poke and just kind of seeing how long it takes to get to certain moves. So that's what really helps. So I believe with the Clodsire, it's like 8 and then 8 to get to Earthquake, and then 7 for the next Earthquake. And now for the Stonehenge, I think it's like 7 and then 6. I don't think I was actually counting very well in this matchup, so they do end up, unfortunately. Actually, no. It was like the same count, like 7 to get to that other Earthquake, and then it would have been also enough for this Stonehenge. I don't know, who knows? But anyway, unfortunately, because we don't have that shield, and honestly, I should not have shielded that, our Medicham would have been able to take it like a champ, and it would have been so much easier to have won this match. I'm talking like we won this match. We don't win this match, guys, unfortunately. But the rest of the matches are 4-1. So this is a 4-1 set. And unfortunately, we just get met with a Carbink. Who runs Carbink? Those who have it. Unfortunately, I don't have one. Otherwise, maybe I'd probably try to test it out. It's just so tanky. And unfortunately, Lantern just doesn't hit so hard. Just look at that surf. It just eats it up. And I'm just thinking, come on, let's see if we can go ahead and just farm it down after this surf, or where does it get, or get to a point where even the Charizard might be able to farm it down, because honestly, that became the only win con. And I'm like, can we wing attack down? I'm like, man, no, that fast move, I don't know if it's what the fast move is, but Rock with Charizard is just, it's just not gonna be. Look at that. This is, we tried so hard. We tried so hard, and it's just not gonna happen, guys. But anyway, the rest of the matches are gonna be wins, so I hope you guys enjoyed the rest of the video. We take down the Carbink, and it's just, they're just gonna go ahead and Vine Whip us down. All good, it happens, guys. So moving on to the next match, we got Lantern against the Swamp. We got Lantern against the Pelipper, a shiny Pelipper, so kudos to our opponent there. Now they're gonna go ahead and swap out to a Clodsire, and I'm like, man, Clodsire is definitely just an instant meta with its typing, its moves. We're gonna go ahead and surf it, and you're gonna see it a lot, so have something on your team that can deal with it. We're gonna go ahead and I just want to do a surf, and then I'm gonna go ahead and move on to my Medicham. And this first one, I believe it's an Earthquake, and we're gonna take it like a champ. We're gonna take it. I'm not gonna go ahead and shield it. I think it does. It doesn't really do quite. Yeah, it doesn't really do half health. Get me to half health. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do, I'm gonna just over farm a little bit, and because I'm thinking they might shield. So we're gonna go ahead and do an Ice Punch. And I believe my opponent does shield. Okay, they don't shield. So I'm like, man, he's just a beast for that. So I want to go ahead and maintain alignment. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just shield here. It's going to be an Earthquake, and we're just going to go ahead and farm down, get a bunch of energy. We now have a Psychic built up. I know they're going to bring back the Pelipper. I believe I get like 2 counters in, and now I'm going to go ahead and throw the Psychic. I think they're now at their 4th wing attack, and we don't want to CMP. So we're just going to go ahead and throw it. They do sneak that move, but that's okay. Gonna go ahead and use the Psychic. Boom. Does a lot of damage, and we get to a point where our opponent actually allows us to get an ice punch. I think they were trying to farm us down. They probably had no idea just how much energy we actually had, and they are forced to shield that. Otherwise, bye bye Pelipper. Now we can go ahead and bring back the Lantern. They have a Frost Blast, and I feel like I was a little bit too late to swap out there. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do, I'm gonna go ahead and stay in. I'm gonna go ahead and do this Thunderbolt, and I'm gonna go ahead. I'm not gonna shield here. It doesn't make sense to shield. Won't shield against this. It's gonna be a Shadow Ball. All good. We're gonna go ahead and now do our Thunderbolt. And I was actually thinking that they were gonna shield this, but they don't, which actually makes it a lot easier for us because now Shadow Charizard is such a great closer. Just as long as we don't get met with like a Carbink or something, we farm down. We don't let this Frost Blast throw any moves. And I know this Pelipper, after I shield this, I knew that this Pelipper had so much energy. So I know I have the CMP. I'm gonna go ahead and just click. I need to click, right? I'm not gonna farm, I can't. So we're gonna go ahead and throw this Dragon Claw. We do CMP. This forces the last shield, right? Because they have to throw, they gotta get rid of this Charizard. And now we're gonna go ahead and they're gonna Weather Ball us down, and we're just gonna go ahead and use Spark Lantern to take out this Pelipper. Honestly, I was almost wanting to run the Water Gun Lantern, but Spark Lantern I think is still honestly the way to go. But you do got those Clodsire, so, but in my opinion, I think Spark Lantern is still the way to go. So we're gonna go in this next matchup, the third match. We got Lantern going up against a Swampert. And this matchup can be a little tricky. I do my best to count. I think our opponent gets to like 8. And I go ahead and throw right before it gets to it. Now it's reached 8 Mud Shots. So I'm going to go ahead and now throw the Surf right here. And it does a pretty good amount of damage. So I'm like, okay, that's pretty good. And I do go ahead and shield this first one. Our opponent did overfarm, so I was honestly a little nervous that it was just going to be a bait. But luckily, it's not a bait. So we're going to go ahead and wait a little bit. Again, I'm trying to count until it gets to like 8 again. And now this is a bit, I think 8 Mud Shots again. And we're going to go ahead and now throw the Surf. They did overfarm, so they did have some more energy there. And looks like they're overfarming again. And I'm like, you know what? At this point, I don't want to risk losing 2 shields. Winning switch is not that important to me in this match. So we're going to go ahead and bring in the Medicham. And the Swampert will get to another move, which is fine. We're going to go ahead and take the Hydro Cannon. No need to shield here. And we're going to go ahead and take it like a champ. I mean, the Shiny Medicham, it just has extra defense, guys. So that's exactly what we're doing. We're going to go ahead and now counter down. We're at half health. You know, not too bad, not too crazy. And they have a Skarmory. Now, things aren't looking too good for us right here. I'm like, can we still win? I don't like to give up on matches, so I end up staying in here. Excuse me, guys. I'm going to go ahead and do the Blast Sprint and just hope that they don't shield this. And guys, they actually let that go. It does so much more, maybe than they thought it would. We're going to go ahead and shield this because we have to. And now, honestly, I haven't baited in a long time. And in my mind, I'm like, dude, the only chance we have of winning this match is to be able to bait this trainer. So I'm going to go ahead and Dragon Claw right here. Dragon Claw bait. This opponent has to make a decision. They shield it. And we miraculously, somehow, some way, I think this is like 1 HP in a dream, we're going to go ahead and get to do the Blast Burn. And because we're Shadow, that debuff doesn't do too much to us. And I think it's a little bit more than 1 HP, but that honestly was insane. The fact that we were able to pull that off. Let's freaking go. On to this next match. I believe this is finally the last match here. We're going to go ahead and go up against a Scrafty. And normally with Scrafty, they tend to do power punches. But this opponent particularly, honestly, just works up to the foul play. And they actually throw the foul play. And I didn't feel like shielding, even if it was a foul play. Lantern takes it pretty well. We're going to go ahead and go for the big move. We throw one more Spark. And I was thinking maybe potentially doing Surf. Most of the time they do shield that first Thunderbolt, and that is what they do. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. It is what it is. And right here, our opponent, I think, does 7 again, 7 counters. And I'm like, okay, this is probably another foul play, but I don't feel like shielding. I honestly didn't feel like shielding this because I thought it was gonna be a power punch, and it was. And I thought my Lantern was going to be able to make it to the Thunderbolt, but it wasn't. Should have thrown that Surf, but honestly, we're still shielded up. They bring a Hypno, and I'm like, man, this is really awkward. What are we doing here? I think I work up to Psychic, and now I'm going to throw an Ice Punch. So got some energy for the Medicham there. Gonna go ahead and do the Ice Punch. I kind of wanted to see how much it would do. And I'm like, that's not that much, man. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring in the Charizard. I'm Shadow, so the wing attacks are gonna be doing a lot more. Now, I know that it takes forever for the, what do you call it? Hypno to get to a move. It's Thunder Punch, and I'm like, can we take it out from this range? We're Shadow, they're Shadow. So I'm thinking this might be able to hopefully take them out. And it actually was. So I was really happy about that. And now my opponent is taking forever to select their Pokemon. So I'm like, dude, are they double weak to Charizard in the back? They're going to bring in the Scrafty. And I was like, this is kind of a tough call I had to make here. I was doing so well counting that I was like, this cannot be a foul play. And it was just a power punch. So I shielded that very well. They're going to go ahead and reveal that they have a Skarmory. And I'm just over farming like crazy here. I think they're thinking that I'm going to bait. And actually, no, I'm building to the back-to-back Blast Burn. I was actually nervous that that Air Slash was actually going to go ahead and take us out. But we cooked this Skarmory. Boom. Just roasted. And our opponent knows that they can no longer win. So they give up the match. And looks like, okay. Looks like we actually have one more match for you guys. So if you stuck around to this point, I do think you guys are amazing. We're going to go ahead and we win late here. I'm like, come on, just give up. Leave the match. But they're willing to stay here. And I was actually surprised. I'm like, man, they're not switching out. I guess they're sacrificing their Golbat. I end up deciding to just throw a Surf too. We actually ended up seeing P, not on purpose. We're going to go ahead and take the Shadow Ball. That's fine. We're going to go ahead and now Surf. And if this connects, this actually, I think, allowed me to just farm them down before they reach their Poison Fang. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they had just reached it, but didn't have enough health to even throw the move, right? So we're at a huge advantage now. They're going to bring in the Medicham. I'm going to go ahead and let her do a couple counters. And I think now it's at like 6. We're going to go ahead and throw the Thunderbolt. And I think they finally decided to shield. I'm like, dude, this guy has to shield something. And they do decide to shield. Now, they end up throwing, which is perfect for us. Because now we're going to go ahead. And I'm thinking, is this Psychic? It ends up being an Ice Punch. And we live it. And we live it just enough to get to... Okay, never mind. I thought we got to the Surf. Looks like we don't make it to the Surf. That's okay. But I was doing such a well job counting that I'm like, I believe this is a Psychic right here. I think they get to 8 counters. And I'm like, no, we have to shield this. Even if it was an Ice Punch, we have to shield it anyway. It was an Ice Punch. I'm over here saying it's a Psychic. It was an Ice Punch. So now we're going to go ahead and use the big move. They swap out to a Jellicent. I'm going to use the Blast Burn. Because it actually, look how much it does to it, guys. It does half health. Now it's below half health. Now where I can get it to a Psychic range. And I will show this one. It's 5 for the first Shadow Ball, and I think it's 4 to the next one. I believe that's what it is, guys. So we could even count. So 1, 2, 3, and now they reach 4 hexes. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this Psychic, and I believe this opponent is gonna just throw right away. We're gonna use this. If they didn't shield, this should have been more than enough to take it out. They use their last shield, and yes. So it looks like it was 4 hexes there, and we're gonna go ahead. We do sneak a counter in though. And they're gonna go boom. They're gonna Shadow Ball us. All good. We're gonna go ahead and we're not gonna play any games. I'm not trying to play any games. We don't want them to, in case they have Surf. I'm not trying to deal with that. We're gonna go ahead and straight up just throw the Dragon Claw as soon as we get to it. And their Medicham, I forget honestly how much energy it had on it. So we do have to get a Dragon Claw to be able to win this game. And based on our previous match, I'm like, this should be enough with the Dragon Claw to be able to take it out from this range, especially from Shadow Charizard. And it is. Boom. We take that match. 4-1 set there for you guys. So this team is insanely strong. So if you're looking to climb, I definitely recommend this team. And if you use this team, let me know how it works out for you guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.